guys, the humble Southpaw here. And before we jump into this video, just for YouTube's sake, both of these firearms that are on the table are clear, they're checked, no magazines in them. So just in case they see that, I don't want them to have any issues with it. So basically, guys, this video today is to look at 3 reasons why Southpaws are overlooked by the gun manufacturer. Now, the first one, of course, is something that we've all heard, and that's basically reason number 1 is the return on investment or market share. You know, we make up 13% of the U.S. population, but I'm feeling like within the gun industry, that might even be lower, between 5, maybe, and I'm being on the high end, 10% of that market share. So the population of gun owners. So basically, you know, return on investment is, you know, do manufacturers believe that the research and development, you know, retooling their manufacturing line, their advertising and all that, do they get the return on marketing and developing a firearm that is going to be, you know, focused and geared towards a Southpaw, you know, making it ambidextrous, fully ambidextrous on how you want to look at that. So, you know, again, that is one we've heard all along. You guys do not make up the market share. You know, according to ammo.com, there's about 83 million gun owners. Now, I know we can't get all the numbers. You know, there is no true database, and this is probably just on surveys and guesstimates and all that. You know, I even did reach out to NSFF, and they couldn't provide me any data on, especially I asked them, do they have data on like Southpaws, how many are, you know, gun owners are Southpaw, and they said they don't have that. You know, it was tempting to reach out to the ATF and, okay, guys, this is a joke, and see what their database, you know, what they could extrapolate from their database, which they're not supposed to have. So that's why it's a joke. So, you know, so basically, if we're looking at that, if we're 5 to 10% of the market, we're looking at 2.5 million, you know, to about, you know, 8.3 million, you know, gun owners. So basically, we are a small niche within this, you know, area. So you can't blame the manufacturers, you know, why they don't do that, but you start to wonder when you see other manufacturers like Canik and Kimber and some other one, and their price points are about the same, why other manufacturers are not doing the same thing. And I think there's a couple other, you'll see in my reason 2 and reason 3 where that stands and why you don't see that. So basically, reason number 2 is what I'm calling is the I'm sorry, we missed a few things here and just explain some things. You know, I did talk to Beretta at the PSA gathering, you know, about their compact and their carry, and he basically said, you know, he's being told, you know, his people on the development side and business side are saying there's not a return on investment of marketing towards a Southpaw. You know, and then also just recently read an article on shootOn.com by Bob Campbell on the Kimber KD S9C. And in his bullets here, and he goes, what would I change? He goes, the pistol is fine by me as it stands, but in light of the plight of my Southpaw brothers and sister, the piece needs an ambidextrous safety. So basically, you know, it does. It shows that, you know, the research and development, you know, retooling everything doesn't meet the stand. You know, they don't feel they're going to get a return on investment on, you know, putting on a, ambidextrous safety. So again, it just shows the 2 things here. So basically, you know, that's reason number 1. And I go back to reason number 2. What I am calling is the P365 syndrome. No one can argue that the P365, and this is the XL, changed the landscape of micro-compact concealed carry. You know, that has been the benchmark and the standard. And if you look at any other firearm that has come after this, the specs are pretty much the same. You know, the Hellcat, you know, the M&P Shield Plus, the Taurus GX4, and I know I'm throwing out that, you know, and even some that come later on, the FN Reflex, you know, and the APXA1 carry. They all within the specs, if you compare them, they're right on point with the P365, you know. So that's a syndrome. It's they're looking, they want to compete. You know, you look at the phone industry, you know, Apple, Samsung, OnePlus, they always look to, you know, up the other. You know, they see what they did and say, okay, how can I make it better? And I think everybody in here, and especially in the micro compact, is they want to compete and they're not looking to see how can I make it better. And they're afraid if they go, they're maybe a half an ounce heavier or, or a little bit thicker, width-wise than this, they're not going to get the market and all that. And so, that's where they're at. So basically, I think that is a change. And I'll tell you, it hurt, man, working at a gun range and seeing all these firearms, nice ones, the M&P Shield, the IWI Slim, even I've had a chance at another, gun store hold the FN Reflex. Very nice. And, because the 509C is fully ambidextrous, so you just start to wonder. And same thing with the A1 Compact. It's not fully ambidextrous, but you can swap out the mag releases. So, there's just, that whole niche. The mindset is we need to compete spec-wise with the P365. And I just recently talked to IWI because I'm looking to do a review on their Masada because it does come fully ambidextrous out of the box. Mag release function on both sides, and it has a slide release and slide lock. And basically, they told me they were looking to develop a slim gun. So basically, their specs on their IWI Masada Slim is pretty much to what the P365 is. And the other thing he gave me, which leads me into my third reason, is they said their people feel that a slide release in a concealed carry environment is not necessary. So my third reason why we're overlooked is what I'm calling the slide release, slide lock conundrum. So basically, is this a slide release or a slide lock? In taking, handgun training while working at the range and our instructors, a lot of them were doing training for agencies, different types of, government agencies, and also were, working with, other, high-profiled training organizations, as instructors and all that. So, they definitely were top-notch. And, and you're always taught, you're not using that slide release. You're using that slingshot motion, So basically, and to me, it is especially in a concealed carry self-defense mode, it is considered a slide lock. When I have a failure to extract, and you're going to want to be able to bring this firearm up into your workspace, be able to lock back that slide, get the pressure off the magazine, press it, release it, remove the extraction, the cartridge that failed to extract, put the magazine back in, and rack it. So, and it was interesting when I was at the gathering, I had a chance to talk to the Beretta again, and Stoger, and Taurus, and when I started explaining why it needs to be on a firearm is for a slide lock and for, dealing with malfunction, all of a sudden things started clicking. And it was really interesting at Taurus because the guy that I was talking to, he was one of the guys from the manufacturing plant. And he's like, oh, all my buddies who are SouthPaws, they just do the slingshot. They don't use the slide release. And when I started explaining, but it's not about the slide release, it's being able to lock that slide back to relieve pressure off the magazine and handle a malfunction that you want to be able to lock it back. And all of a sudden you could see the light just click on and say, wow, didn't think about it that way. And everybody around, when I started talking, and that was even at, Stoger or wherever, they would stop. And even conversations I would have at gun stores and even at the gun range when I worked there, people would stop and it would be like, wow, didn't look at it that way. And even when I talked to other Southpaws and when I start explaining and seeing, they agree. So, that is the point. So basically, the three reasons I see, and of course, reason number one is return on investment and market share. That one is one we've heard all along, and you can't argue that one to a point. The next one is the P365 syndrome. Everybody wants to mirror what the P365 looks like, feels like, and they don't want to improve on it. And then lastly is, and I think if you put them all together, we'll get, we could start seeing manufacturers doing fully ambidextrous firearms. And that last one is the slide release, slide lock conundrum. So basically, guys, I hope you found this interesting. Be safe. If you did like it, please give me thumbs up. If you want to see more videos from a Southpaw's perspective on firearms and EDC gear, please subscribe and definitely share. All right, guys, be safe.